Hello and welcome to Menvic Studio. My name is Angole Ibesuku. If you're coming across me for the first time, thank you for stopping by, and thank you to all of my returning viewers for all of your support. Today, I'm going to be discussing the cost of living crisis, which is happening everywhere in different parts of the world. Everyone is feeling the pinch, and certainly here in Scotland, United Kingdom, we're also feeling the pinch here. When you go to the shops to buy stuff, the prices of things keep going higher and higher, and most times people's wages are not even increasing to meet up with this. So I'll be discussing how we are coping and how we are managing to survive in these tough times. Just to give an example of how the cost of things no longer makes sense, on Saturday, just this past Saturday, we went to the shop, and the particular oil, olive oil, which we used to cook, the price has increased from what it used to be. It used to be just a little bit over £3, and the price has gone up just almost £6. And it's not even just that, that's just one example. And then there is also the kitchen towel, the disposable kitchen wipe, which you use to mop up things in the kitchen or just around the house. That one, the price has actually more than doubled. And I remember the last time we bought this, which was about 2 months or even a month ago, it used to be just a little bit over £4. And the price increased from that just being a little bit over £4 to a little bit above £6. And I remember really being grumpy buying that, and I was thinking, wow, this is getting really expensive. Only to realize this last Saturday that the price is closer to £9 now, so way above £8, very close to £9. And I was just thinking to myself, if the price of this thing keeps rising like this, then I might just have to add it to the non-essential to only be bought when the prices make sense again. And this is just two examples I've given. This is happening across every single thing one used to buy. The prices are just going up. Almost all workers' unions are demanding for pay rise for their members, and almost all professions have either embarked on several strikes or they are planning to go on strikes. And just earlier this week, one news read that soldiers are being trained to drive ambulances to cover for striking paramedics as the government prepares to hold an emergency Cobra meeting. The country is set to be hit by a wave of strikes over the coming weeks as Royal Mail staff, nurses, paramedics, rail employees and border force officials all stage walkouts over jobs, pay and conditions. As well as military staff, civil servants are also being trained in case they are required to be drafted in at ports and airports as border staff prepare to strike for 8 days from December 23rd to New Year's Eve. Armed Forces members will also be deployed to hospital trusts across the country to prepare to man vehicles ahead of an ambulance strike scheduled for December 21st, with a significant number of military staff now expected to miss Christmas breaks. Wow. On some level, even from the least earners to the top earners, we're all feeling the pinch because everyone is increasingly unable to afford their normal lifestyle. So I know some people might think that, oh, those who are the highest earners, and I quite hear people often say that here, that the top earners should probably be taxed more because they probably don't need all that money they are earning. But to be honest, if the more you earn, maybe your lifestyle changes, and if everyone is experiencing this hiked cost of living, then increasingly everyone is not able to afford their usual lifestyle. So everybody is feeling the pinch. And the worst of this inflation is the utility bills, especially the energy bills. The energy bills are soaring through the roof, and to make matters worse, this winter, I actually feel like is the coldest. I don't remember it being this cold last year. It may have been, but honestly, I don't remember it being this cold. And so you can imagine the amount it's costing to keep the home warm for a lot of people. It's actually doubled or nearly doubled. And some families are even torn between the impossible decision of whether they should keep their home warm or afford food. And this is a really bad place to be in. Our mortgage is the biggest expense we have in a month. But thankfully, our interest rate is currently locked in for the next 3 years. When we took out the mortgage, we locked it in for 5 years, and the interest was reasonable at that time. So the interest rate is still locked in for 3 more years, which means at least the amount we are paying at the moment, we're going to keep paying that. It's not going to increase, because if we were to actually take out or remortgage the property and take up the interest rate, which is what you have at the moment, would have a very significant increase in the mortgage. But thankfully, that's not the case. So that aspect is fine. But in terms of being able to still afford the money which we pay monthly for the mortgage, we did take a couple of steps at a time when we were taking out the mortgage to ensure that should anything happen in the future, we are not left in a position where we are wondering how are we going to be able to afford this property or to keep paying for it, and also to avoid our home being repossessed because we are not able to keep up with the payment. So we used a mortgage advisor to help us shop around for the best mortgage option. And when he came back and told us how much we were allowed to borrow or how much we could borrow, we made a decision at that point to borrow way less, significantly less than we were actually allowed to borrow. So even though we could have borrowed more money and then bought a much bigger house that we currently live in, we made that decision to borrow less and then buy the property which we currently live in. We did not want a situation like I mentioned before where we would have to be wondering, oh, how are we going to afford this, or would our house be repossessed and all of that. So we made that decision to keep our mortgage as little as possible. And one more thing that is also very important. So every month since we took out the mortgage, every month at the end of the month, any disposable income we have, we actually sank it back into the house and then use that as an overpayment. And this overpayment does a couple of things, one of which is that it will save us a lot of money on how much interest we finally repay back. But most importantly, should we ever run into a situation whereby we are unable to make our monthly payments, the money we have paid so far for the overpayment could be taken as our monthly payment by the bank until we're able to continue making our normal monthly payment. Obviously, this is a situation we hope never happens. We don't pray for it and we hope it never happens. But should the worst ever happen, that way we are not having sleepless nights over how we're going to keep up with payment of our mortgage. So on to other things which are like the bills, so the electricity, the gas, the petrol. I did mention that the energy bill is really going through the roof, and that is true. So in terms of the electricity, we have always been very cautious and we still do that. In fact, we've become even more cautious. I know back in the days when we lived in Nigeria, whenever it was dark, the lights in most rooms, if not all the rooms, including outside, were left on. We don't do any of that here. So any room that there is no one in, the light stays off. And then also there is no leaving on the TV to run forever when there is no one there. We are not tight on, like, say, don't turn on the TV, don't turn on whatever, but it's just if it's not being used, it stays off. And then in terms of heating, we pay monthly. I know some people do the pay as you go, but that is really more expensive in the long run. But also we have a central system where the temperature in the house is controlled from. If there is no one in the house, the temperature stays at a certain degree, which means the house is not unnecessarily kept warm for nobody. And then we set the timer in a way that when we're in the house, the temperature is good enough. But if we're not there, then the temperature automatically goes down to just enough so that the house is not frozen. We also have an app on the phone where you can control this temperature from. Then in terms of petrol, don't do unnecessary driving. Whenever we could, we walk to everywhere where we can. For example, I do enjoy when I can, even my husband, he enjoys walking our daughter to school, and we only drive when it's absolutely necessary. But other than that, we enjoy some walking when we can, and that also saves us money on petrol. I am a very picky eater, so I prefer to make my own foods. And that way, I'm never really too tired to cook because I know it's either I cook or I starve. I tend to make most of our meals. We rarely eat takeout or takeaway except if we are not in the house. And even sometimes, if I know we're spending the whole day outside, sometimes I do actually make us pack lunch to take along with us as opposed to buying some random takeaway food and all of that. The food we take to work and also my daughter takes to school, I don't have any problem making all of that. I do enjoy cooking. So yes, that saves us a lot of money. Then the other thing that takes a bit of money is things like making the hair. You know, our African hair, you have to go to the African salon where it's being made. For me, the salons are really far away from where we live. The last time I had my hair made, I was at the salon till, I think it was till past 11. I got home at past midnight. Yes, and this was all the way to Glasgow, about 40 minutes drive. And I'm talking of motorway driving, or what you call express driving in Nigeria. So 40 minutes drive from the house. So making the journey to make my hair is not easy. I have actually discovered that our hair don't need to be made or braided all the time. And I'm not a wig person. I don't like wearing wig. I have this fear that I might go to work and then someone will tug on the wig and it will fall off. So each time I wear wig, I am so self-conscious that it's really not worth it for me. So for me to wear a wig, it means that my hair is in a state that I really feel like I need to give it serious rest. So I don't like wigs. So it's either I carry my hair, my natural hair, or I braid it. And like I said, braiding is not exactly the easiest option, so most times I carry my hair the way it is. And I have discovered that our African hair can survive fine on its own. You don't need to put it in protective styling and all of that. And I've been doing this for 5 years now. In 5 years, I can count how many times I've braided my hair, and it's fine. It looks healthy. The last time I went to the salon, the lady says that my hair looks healthy. So every weekend I put the hair, either if I need to wash it, I'll wash it. If I don't need to wash it, I would oil it, put mayonnaise in it, and I'll make it into a style which I'll carry for the week. And once I've done that and I've packed it in a way I like, all I have to do is to put my silk scarf on it, and it stays exactly that way till the end of the week. And then as far as my daughter's hair goes, I make all her hairstyles for her. So we don't really spend a lot of money on making hair. I'm not really big on shopping. Shopping for women's clothing, sometimes it gives me headache, because when you get into the shop, there are so many options. Sometimes the styles are very similar and there's just one tiny difference, and then it takes forever to choose what you want. I'm one of those people that I take pride in. When I buy something, I buy things I really like at a reasonable price, and good quality as well, but reasonable price. And once I buy that, I wear it and use it until it dies. And then for my daughter, because she's young and she tends to outgrow things quickly, and that can take a bit of money, but what I have been doing is to shop for the clothes for a coming season at the end of the season where we are in. So for example, if I want to shop for her 2023 summer clothes, I will buy them at the end of 2022 summer. That saves us a lot of money on clothes shopping, and then again, I don't overdo it. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to comment, like, and share my videos, and I'll see you in my next video.